Welcome, everyone. Climate Transformed Weekly Summary, and also fast forward to next week, too. We'll give you a little sneak peek. We're going to talk about our awesome events and let you know a little bit more about Climate 2023 coming up.
McKenna, that was great. The Climate Transformed hype machine is on full flight. McKenna, we had two events. One just literally just finished a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
UBQ, which I think you said came from, it was referring to ubiquitous, is an Israeli plastics company.
Absolutely, yeah. So their claim is, the most climate positive thermoplastic on the market, and they take just fully unsorted waste and compress and heat it into a one-for-one replacement with plastic. So Mercedes-Benz is using it, McDonald's, all of these huge companies as a replacement and toward their net zero goal.
That's very cool. I mean, it's if you look at these hard to abate sectors, plastics, steel, cement, these sort of things, we're really moving forward. I mean, the recycling side of things is something which is obviously an element that is a great path forward. Whether or not you can scale to the extent that they need to scale is remains to be seen. But look, at the end of the day, we're making so much progress in this stuff. It's remarkable, and UBQ is UBQ is front and center of this. It's awesome. Integral Group, which is a construction consulting firm out of your hometown, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So they're global, but Tom, who joined us to speak, he really got into the weeds on, how using all electric heat pumps and renewables and that flow throughout the day and just energy storage, how those just three components can completely change the game. And just one thing I noted, he showed the most leakage per city for methane when gas in residential and commercial use. So can you guess which city had the worst leakage in their gas use?
Los Angeles.
No, it was actually in Indianapolis, but New York had the best. So,
yeah.
You can represent New York a little bit.
That's it. Yeah, it's no. Look, I mean the issue of methane capture is it's vitally important. We know the numbers that methane is multiple times worse than CO2 in terms of its impact on climate change in general. But next week we've got Calyx, which is funny enough from speaking of hometowns, from Melbourne, Australia. And Calyx is a sequestration company that is, in short, what they do is they are capturing point of source carbon from cement manufacturers, steel manufacturers, and and think of it, McKenna, as a giant cylinder, which effectively is like a giant pizza oven. So they heat this cylinder to over 1,000 degrees centigrade. They drop limestone or predominantly limestone through this mix. It heats the limestone, but also enables it to capture the CO2 as part of the process of actually heating limestone. It's a very cool company. And again, obviously, there's an energy component to heating that cylinder, but it's in terms of the efficiency of capture of carbon from specific point of capture, things like steel mills, aluminum smelters, cement. It's a very cool technology, and they're obviously looking to grow predominantly in Europe, but as I said, from my hometown of Melbourne. And then later in the week, we've got Eki Energy, which is an Indian carbon offset company. They've done nature-based solutions, and it'll be interesting to talk to Manesh Devkara, who is the CEO, to talk to him about not only what's going on in Indian nature-based offsets, but also the political element around the Indian government banning the sale of offsets abroad, which obviously put the voluntary carbon markets into a tailspin. A few months back when that happened. And everyone, yeah. So the last thing we wanted to talk about, we're doing a terrible job at keeping this to 5 minutes, which is 100% on me. But Climate 2023 is our next virtual conference, December 6th through 8th. We will be having panel conversations on day 1 and 2 across 20 of our our 16 verticals plus project finance, venture capital, and some other stuff as well. And then day 3, as with VCM, as our C-suite showcases, which we'll be interviewing CEOs from companies like S2G and a slew of other companies over the course of that. Website will be is up and running, go to climatetransform.com, register there. McKenna, what else do we have? Anything else?
That's the main thing. Just for sure, register for Climate 2023. It's going to be amazing, and like I'm so excited, and what a best opportunity we have to kind of look to the year ahead and see all the changes, and talk to the experts who know what's to come.
Yeah, and I think just quickly, again, if we're blowing through the 5 minutes, I might as well talk for a bit longer. So the things that we want to focus on is the impact of climate policy and climate legislation in the United States, and what the implications of that will be in the next 12 months. Certainly the consequences of the ongoing Ukrainian war and what that means for renewables in Europe, energy policy in Europe in general, and what is for me a fairly definitive backsliding in terms of climate goals for Europe going forward. We want to talk about things such as the cost curve for sequestration, which again, there's a lot of great sequestration companies out there, but if you're capturing carbon at $1,000 a ton, who gives a shit? Because no one can afford to do that. Yeah. So these are all things we want to be talking about it, and most importantly, and again, I get back to our interview with Sanjeev Krishnan, who's the CIO of S2G. We will talk about what venture capital firms like S2G are looking at in terms of the trends they're looking at in 2023, but also things like valuation, which obviously growth equity globally has been kicked in the pants so far in 2022. Higher interest rates means lower multiples for venture funding. Does that lead to shortages of capital for good climate projects and the like? And these are all conversations that we will have. So everyone, climatetransform.com, you can register there for Climate 2023. And McKenna, I will chat to you next week.
Okay, sounds good. Bye, everyone. Bye.